In Part 8 of our Resident Evil recap, we covered the events of Code Veronica, from the reunion of the Redfield siblings to the deepest, darkest secrets of the Ashcroft family. In Part 9, however, we're taking a brief detour, a little deviation, to explore what happened to a select few characters after the events of Resident Evil 1 and 2. What happened to Albert Wesker, last seen faking his death in the Spencer Mansion incident? How about Ada Wong, last seen faking her death after the outbreak in Raccoon City? Just what were they up to between games? Before we begin, this video is based on our understanding of Resident Evil: The Umbrella Chronicles story and lore, and reflects our interpretation of its events as a refresher before Resident Evil: Requiem. As always, we recommend that you make your own informed call by looking into the game yourself and ensuring that it matches your expectations, standards, and personal values. The answer can be found in, of all things, an on-rails light gun shooter, Resident Evil: The Umbrella Chronicles. It was released in 2007 exclusively for the Nintendo Wii, but despite its spin-off-y nature, the events of The Umbrella Chronicles are actually crucial to understanding the full narrative picture. Which is kind of funny because a significant chunk of the game consists of retellings of Resident Evil 0, Resident Evil 1, and Resident Evil 3 Nemesis, which don't mirror their core stories at all, and thus aren't canon. So what about everything else? Well, let's start with the core narrator, Albert Wesker, who outlines his survival at the hands of the T-002 tyrant in Spencer Mansion. As it turns out, the T-virus, which he had injected himself with beforehand, is what was responsible for his survival, effectively mending his wound and bringing him back to the land of the living. While tasked by Umbrella to destroy Arklay Laboratory, Wesker was already serving as a double agent for the rival company and sought to steal information from its computer. Unfortunately, the Red Queen AI, created to oversee Umbrella's assets and protect its employees, and the timely arrival of Sergei Vladimir, commander of the Umbrella Biohazard Countermeasure Service, or UBCS, would result in Wesker being locked off from the files. And yes, the Red Queen is named as such from the first live-action Resident Evil film, though they have nothing in common with regards to their origins. After being denied access, Wesker swore vengeance on the AI and made his escape. This also marked the appearance of his superhuman capabilities. Thanks to the T-virus, Sergei moved the UMF-013, a computer core which contained the Red Queen AI and all of the corporation's data on its heinous experiments, to a secret location in Raccoon City. However, he would shift it again to an Umbrella laboratory in Caucasus. It's also where he moved Talos, a powerful T-011 with powerful armor and a computer for remote control via the Red Queen. Thanks to Sergei's oversight, the project was also officially complete. The tyrant capable of dispatching other lesser tyrants was thus online. This led to the sole new scenario in Umbrella Chronicles, which surprisingly jumped ahead to 2003. And remember, the Raccoon City incident took place in 1998. Investigating strange incidents occurring in Caucasus, Wesker and Umbrella's rival company soon learned that this is where Umbrella had effectively been hiding out. Chris Redfield and Jill Valentine also caught wind of the events, and after a short run-in with Wesker, they would venture to the laboratory to take the fight to the corporation. Eventually, the pair would go up against the Talos and defeat it, despite the creature mutating further. So where was Wesker in the midst of all of this? Well, say what you will about the man, but he knows how to hold a grudge. First, he managed to sway an employee within the lab to cause a T-virus outbreak. That same employee helped him slip past the Red Queen, and while searching for more details on the UMF-013, he happened upon blueprints to get inside. Chris and Jill had already been following Wesker, but that was also within his calculations, as he left them to battle Talos, while he would then pursue the UMF-013. Despite this, the Red Queen and Sergei were well aware of his machinations. The latter sent a pair of Ivans, special T-103 tyrants that served as his bodyguards, after Wesker, which was a mistake because he handily defeated them without a scratch. With the Talos occupied with Chris and Jill, Sergei used a modified T-virus to infect himself, mutating into a powerful BOW. It still wasn't enough, however, as Wesker defeated him. From there, he would steal all of the UMF-013's data and then leak it to the world, thus ensuring Umbrella's swift end in trials following the aftermath of the Raccoon City destruction incident. The Red Queen was wiped, and shortly after, Umbrella Corporation would shut down. Meanwhile, Wesker would venture forth with his own plans. He wouldn't act alone, though, as another key operative quickly became embroiled. We're of course talking about none other than Ada Wong, an operative for the HCF, Wesker's special unit under Umbrella's rival company. She was tasked with obtaining a G-virus sample back in 1998, her whole reason for venturing to Raccoon City to begin with. Things took a turn after she encountered Leon S. Kennedy and, for whatever reason, decided to help him, even tending to his wounds. She somehow survived the incident of Resident Evil 2, and even helped Leon defeat Mr. X along the way. Despite not obtaining a sample, all was not lost. She would discover William Birkin's mutated corpse during the self-destruction of Nest, and use a tissue from whatever was left as her sample. After rendezvousing with a liaison, who took their life instead, and reconvening with Wesker, who went from disappointed at her helping Leon to more amicable upon seeing the sample, she was informed that Raccoon City would soon be bombed, and the escape window was closing. It was only through reaching an Umbrella helicopter and hanging off of it with her grappling gun that she managed to evacuate. And funnily enough, this would be the same helicopter that Sergei uses to move the UMF-013 out of Raccoon City. Then there's Hunk. Back when Birkin brokered a deal with the US government in exchange for asylum, with his family included, Hunk was sent in to steal the G-virus and eliminate him on Umbrella's orders. Leading Alpha Team, they accomplished this objective and left, assuming that Birkin was dead, not knowing that he infected himself with the virus. Now mutated, he would go on to slaughter Alpha Team in the sewers, causing the G-virus to spill out from its container and contributing to the wider outbreak in Raccoon City. After the last of his allies died, Hunk continued with his mission, eventually getting in touch with Nighthawk, an Umbrella Security Service pilot, to evacuate. After taking on all manner of monstrosities, including a T-00 Tyrant, Hunk tells Nighthawk to leave without him. Surprisingly, the latter decides to stick to their deal, and they both evacuate, thus allowing Hunk to deliver the G-virus sample to Umbrella. And that more or less concludes the canon content in Umbrella Chronicles, aside from a brief subchapter that shows Rebecca Chambers heading to a rendezvous point with Bravo Team following the events of Resident Evil 0. She would eventually meet up with Richard Aiken, and both spotted Sergei leaving with one of his Ivans. The rest, of course, is history. The final scenario ends with Wesker now in full control. Despite Oswald Spencer still being alive, Wesker mocks how the former is now a fugitive in the world he sought to control. Quote, "We shall meet again before the conclusion of this drama," he said, sitting all pretty in his supervillain chair. Quote, "You will then learn of the history I will write for this world." Well, that's it for Part 9. When we return for Part 10, we'll be setting up the events of Resident Evil 4 Remake through another unexpected spin-off, Resident Evil: The Dark Side Chronicles.
And that'll be about it for this one. If you guys like what we're doing at Gaming Vault, please consider subscribing to our channel, and I'll see you guys on the next video.